In the body, connective tissues bind structures together, form a framework and support for organs in the body as a whole. Every closed system has connective tissue, the human body, the biosphere, and the open marketplace alike.
The Connective Tissue Podcast is an attempt to connect the philosophies, experts, and opinions that comprehensively encompass the 5 compounding F's of life: fact, finance, fitness, family, and freedom. Together, we represent the connective tissues of life.
Our intention is for you to use the information provided to contrast against your own walk of life to maximize every avenue of success, peace, and prosperity. No matter how you view it, movement is life. Remember, it's not like magic, it is magic. Eternally rhetorical, how do you move? I'm your co-host, Philip A. Croshan.
And I'm your co-host, Garrett G. Mezzanato.
And together,
we are the Connective Tissue Podcast. So, Philip, how old were you when you made, how young were you when you made your first 100K?
When I made my first 100K, my first 6-figure year, I think it was 25.
25.
But my first 6-figure system didn't come about until I was maybe 2020, which would have put me at 27.
What were you doing when you made that 100K at 27?
So I just authored neuromuscular therapy systems, and I started utilizing it. For those who don't know, neuromuscular therapy systems is a certifying body that teaches practitioners hands-on skills to troubleshoot the sensory motor cortex of a muscle at origin points and insertion points in the highest concentration of proprioceptors to in effect motor re-education. So I created that system, not only started teaching it, but integrating it into my practice and marketing it as a niche product.
So what else were you doing besides that made you 100K?
Well, I mean, man, entrepreneurship, man, it's every odd job that you can get into that works together in coordination to get you to your goal. But, those revenue streams, you could probably only predict them out 4 months at a time. So sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. But by the time I got something solid, I had my clinical practice going. I had dietary supplements, built some products online, and for the most part, those 3 things were getting it done, as well as consultations and things like that.
What do you think was the breakthrough moment that got you to making that much money?
Looking at things in microcycles, being able to say, how much do I actually need to make per day to get to 100K? So I started looking at that. I don't know, it's probably around one of my accountability partners. And, we were talking about just breaking that down into $278 a day. That's kind of what it needs to average out in a 30-day month. And then I looked at how much I was working and if that was achievable. And certain areas I had to adjust. Other areas I was like, I just gotta get 1 more client or 2 more clients, things like that. So the breakdown of it was turning into a calculation.
Yeah, everything about making money is a calculation.
Yeah.
It's math.
Yeah.
And I think coming up in the school system, that's one of the reasons why we're taught math, right? We're not necessarily. I actually had this one teacher in high school she was my algebra and calculus teacher, Miss Borst. She was a G. The reason why is because she was the only teacher that brought real life math into class, where she would teach us how to write and read checks, how to what's it called? I mean, people don't even do this anymore. I think my mom is the only one I know that still does this. Calculates her checkbook, balances her checkbook. She taught us how to do that. Taught us compounding interest. Was teaching us stuff about loans, financial literacy. Not many teachers do that. I think that's something that's broken with our education system.
Yeah, shout out to Miss Boyce.
Yeah, she's I don't know if she's still teaching. I think she retired recently. But yeah,
you should find out, bro.
Yeah, I should find out. She's was one of my favorite teachers, and she caught me cheating on a test one time, and really frowned upon it, and made my life a little bit harder than it needed to be. But it was a wake up call, and I'm glad I stuck with it and went all the way on to calculus in high school, because she taught me a lot.
Yeah. What about you?
So coming up in the fitness industry, when I was 21, I got into a management role running a training department, and I made $65K my first year. 21. 22, I made a little bit of growth, made it $82K, and then my first year that I made 100K was 23, and then I made 100K 2 years in a row, and then I got promoted to that district vice president role, and I made 100K, and then COVID happened. Once COVID happened, I made my first 100K as an entrepreneur that same year in 2020. And then things took I steadily progressed each year. And then things took a downward spiral in 2022. 2022, I came back to LA Fitness, made 100K again. And then I decided to partner up with you. And before we partnered up, we decided how much money did we need to make. We talked about it. And it's a calculation. We broke down the numbers. 100K comes down to like $8,300 a month. Super doable. So I broke it down into how many sessions or how many online programs we needed to sell to get to 30K between the two of us, which would be 200K. And it's really achievable, guys. I think people really underestimate what you got to do to make 100K. If you're selling a product, right, 100K divided by I don't know, let's say your product is $100, right? It's only 1,000 products at $100. Let's say you come up with a pair of shoes, 100K. You come up with a shirt, 2 shirts. You're selling 2 shirts a day at $50 a day. You're making 100K. Like it's super doable, but people don't realize how doable it is, and that's something that comes to mind.
And there's work that goes into breaking down the science of what makes your product marketable, and then how to attract your consumers. Because if you're selling shoes, what makes your shoes different from another or more valuable?
Exactly.
And there's a lot of market research that goes into that. But once you do crack your code, everything changes. At least that was my experience. In fact, the first year that I did 100K system, I surpassed 100K, like by far. I was on my way to 200K first time, but it was because once I found a system that worked, it was like, man, I had so much extra time that wasn't being efficiently applied towards my goal. I did a lot of work, but not all of it was progression.
You weren't necessarily optimizing your time.
I was working hard, but not necessarily working smart.
Yeah, to work smart, not work hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
what are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way?
Commit to an idea and don't waver from it unless it's no longer true to you. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, but that's life. That's not a business specific thing. That's a life thing.
I think go ahead, sorry.
Well, yeah, that's a life thing. I would, if I asked myself working, and let's say I was still working in the physical therapy industry, doing 60, 70 grand a year, would I've been happy? Let's say I was making 100 grand a year. Would I have been happy with the structure of how I had to operate to make that 100 grand? Probably not. I found that in that industry, it was limiting. You know, it turned into pain management over comprehensive rehabilitation. Patient outcomes weren't as good as they could be simply because the influence of insurance companies. Ethically, you can't promise someone complete healing when you only have them for 12 sessions. It's you got to manage expectations with what you are doing. So, getting I wouldn't have been as fulfilled there. So even when I find my lows as an entrepreneur, I lean back on that truth that if I was doing it in any other way, I wouldn't have peace. So once you find peace in that truth, it's easier to kind of just sit, or it's more palatable to sit into whatever struggle is meant for you.
Well, yeah, I think there's a huge difference of making 100K while you're working for somebody else and making 100K as an entrepreneur, because that 100K goes a lot further when you're an entrepreneur because you have more time on your hands. So take in mind, like when I was making 100K, I was putting in 60, 70, sometimes 80-hour work weeks. And Evelyn hated it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're working again, we're on pace to make multiple, more than 100K, and physically working, man, maybe 20, 30 hours a week. And then the rest of it's kind of back end work. There's still work that goes into it, but physically with a patient or with a client, maybe 20, 30 hours a week, but you're still making the same amount of money. So being an entrepreneur is way more stressful, in my opinion, but way more rewarding. And you're in control of the patient outcomes rather than running somebody else's system and not being in control. So I think go ahead.
It's preference, right? In some systems, it might serve you better to just show up for work, do your job, be competent in that position, whatever responsibility you hold to the team, do it and be well compensated for. And for my personal philosophy relative to my life, I operate a little bit differently. There are some teams that I work in, and I think it's important to add that as an entrepreneur doesn't mean that I don't work in anyone else's system. I'm just not limited exclusively to it. So
You're not capped out.
Yeah, I still work within other teams. But if it impeded my ability to work for myself, then the cost would be too high. But you said it's more stressful working as an entrepreneur. Maybe at certain points in your life, right? I guess you would have to do like a cross sectional review to really look at these numbers, but I think you're probably spending the same amount of time working, whether you are working a 9-to-5 position or entrepreneur. It's just, as an entrepreneur, I'm grateful to be able to really put all those numbers, those hours in the beginning of my career, so that I can pull back some on the latter end, So, yeah, those 80-hour work weeks, those got to go, those have to be worked, no matter who you are, what you're doing. But if you could do those in 1 week without suing yourself, while working a 9-to-5, you got to get, those 40 hours, and then it's time and a half, and then there's labor laws, or whatever the case may be, unless you're on salary.
Or your salary.
Yeah.
You get taken advantage of.
That's
been my experience.
Yeah.
And I would so much rather be in control of my time and have freedom than have to ask somebody, hey, can I take a vacation? Or, hey, I'm going to put in for this. Will you accept it? Like, I'm going to go on a little mini road trip next week. I'm going to ask no one. I'm just doing my due diligence and letting you know I'm going to be out of town, letting my clients know I'm going to be out of town for a couple of days. And I'll be back. Yeah. It's going to be okay. Still making money while I'm on the road. That's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, in my opinion. And making six figures allows you to do so, right? If you're making 50, 60 G's a year, realistically living in San Diego, you're not going to have the financial freedom to be be able to do what you want. You're gonna have to stay and grind and to pay the bills, just to pay the bills and just scrape by. I think 100K a year minimally is the minimum amount to be able to unlock true financial freedom and start living a lifestyle that most people want to live. You know, wear the things you want to wear, do the things you want to do, drive the type of whip you're trying to drive, things like that. You know, I think to live in San Diego, you got to be making 100K or at least have a 100K combined household income to even be able to purchase a house.
You know, what six figures allowed me to do was invest into my creative, innovative space. You know, it's initially, it still was stretched then.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but the reinvestment into myself came at that threshold once I became a six-figure cat.
Well, because you're able to pay the bills and maybe have a couple grand to put into savings to then where you have that buffer, right? If you have a couple grand in buffer in savings you'll be able to leave that 9 to 5 and start your own entrepreneurship journey. And that's what I think 100K unlocked for me. You know, if I wasn't making 100K a year, I wouldn't have any financial buffer to be able to leave my 9 to 5 and come back and be an entrepreneur again. The first time was during COVID, so I was forced to make that commitment.
Forced adaptation.
You know, forced adaptation. And then, you know, I gave up on myself, and that's the biggest thing I learned. One of the biggest things I've learned along my entrepreneurship journey is don't give up on yourself. I gave up on myself, and I could have given up forever and just went back to the corporate life, working the 9 to 5 and really being unhappy and overworking and being underpaid and underappreciated. The only way you're going to be able to be paid how you want to be paid and appreciated, the only person that's really truly going to appreciate you is yourself at the end of the day. So you have to work for yourself, and then once you're making 100K, go do it. Go work for yourself, and then you'll make more. You'll have that level up.
You know, it's not really anyone else's responsibility to care for you like that.
No, it's not. No.
And it doesn't necessarily show a lack of virtue of a company for not caring about you to the same standard of which, or the highest standard of which you care about yourself. Yeah. You know, you come into this thing with a contract. You say, Garrett, I'll give you $70,000 to do this job. Here's the criteria. Do you accept or do you not accept? If you accept it, shit, man, that's your choice.
You're selling your time for money.
And that's your choice.
That's your choice.
And it's okay. It's okay to do that. But if you got another vision for your life, you got to see that vision through.
Yeah, no, but not everybody has that vision, and that's okay. But if you have that vision for yourself, pursue it.
Fair.
Don't leave it on the back burner, because if you leave it on the back burner, you might go your whole life without pursuing that vision, pursuing your dreams, pursuing your aspirations. And then what? You're 60 years old, you're about to retire, and then you're wishing that you had pursued them when you had the time, when you had the energy, and when you had the extra income to do so.
What's been the biggest lesson that you've learned on the lows? We'll get to the high later, right? But in the trough, man, I mean, I've not found an entrepreneur that hasn't had to go through that, endure it, and persevere. You said around 2020, 2022?
2022, middle of 2022.
What did you experience? What did you learn? How'd you come out of it?
I mean, I went from making more than 100K, you know, making double digit or 5 digits a month, you know, to 3,500 a month. And that was a huge wake up call. That's when I gave up on myself. I was like, I'm not good at this anymore. And that's when you really need to. I mean, so many entrepreneurs leverage credit to get going or to keep going. That's where I should have just leveraged credit, you know, put some money into marketing. I wasn't doing any marketing. I had no marketing budget. And if I would have maybe put a couple $1,000s into marketing, online marketing, social media marketing, I could have picked up the online. I could have had some more revenue coming in. So
where did you educate yourself that changed things for you? Where was the education necessary? You talk marketing, you know, was that something that you sought out, you know, YouTube University? Where did that come from? What gave you what was the catalyst for you to gain a different perspective.
Man, seeing some of my close homies running their own marketing agencies, being successful, and seeing all kinds of people popping up out of nowhere, social media trainers running online ads, marketing, bunch of ads. I mean, if you scroll through social media right now, there's hundreds of ads that are going to just pop up, and people are paying for those. Some people click on it. It's a funnel. You click on it, it takes you to their free program or their download, and then they got you. You're a lead now. You should if you're a business owner now, you have to have a marketing budget, because social media and online marketing should be tapped into. If you're not running some type of online program, you're missing out. People need help, whether they're remote or not. People want to be helped. People are seeking help. If you're not accessible in the online market, you're missing out.
What do you say for those people who don't have a product that, or at least they feel like their product can't be adequately given online? What if it's an in-person service?
If it's only an in-person service, you could still market it online, and you could still, like, for example, if you're in San Diego, there's I don't know the exact population, it's at least 1 million people minimum in San Diego proper. There's people that are not being helped. There's people that are looking online but not finding the right person for them. So if you have Google ads running, if you have social media ads running, you just might pop up into their feed, be able to reel them in to come see you in person.
So at that point, are you saying lean into licensing a system, like a model? Or are you saying, like, for that person who is in person, right? I'll give you an example. When I started offering proprioceptive muscle growth stimulating massage, that's the neuromuscular integration that I authored. It was an in-person thing. And my philosophy was, you have to have a marketable skill that you can market at $100 an hour minimum to really get into that financial freedom or get across that threshold. Once I started doing that successfully, I started bringing people on and teaching them. Well, teaching them in person was limited. So that's when creating NMTS online, that's when that idea came. I need to license this idea out to other practitioners, certify them, so that they can use it themselves. And that course study now is a revenue stream. So what is it that you are, what advice are you giving specifically for that person with the in-person service?
So if you have an in-person service, most of the time you can translate it to online, right? So, like, for example, performance training, corrective exercise. These are all exercises that can be performed remotely, right? There's so many apps out there that you can use to push your services online. So, for example, you're a person at home, you need some physical therapy, right? We could write out a program, give you a movement prescription, and put it in this app and give you how-to videos explaining these movements and how to perform them, and give them to you remotely via your phone or a tablet or a laptop. You're able to perform these with the proper cues and step-by-step instructions how to perform them from the comfort of your own home.
Telehealth has boomed.
I was actually training a emergency medicine doctor during COVID, and he would have to leave our sessions early sometimes to do telehealth.
Really?
Yeah, and it was crazy. I mean, he was getting paid good money, which is why he would do it. He's like, Garrett, I'm getting paid hundreds of dollars for, I think he was making like $150 an hour just to do a little 30-minute consultation and give people, right? He was writing prescriptions online. It was crazy, and that boomed, right? Then my online coaching business boomed, because I was like, doctors are doing this, I could be doing this online as well. People still need to work out. People can't go to the gyms are shut down. I had people coming to me, I had like 30 clients coming to me, and I had 15 clients online at one point, and that's when my business was booming, once I licensed those services out, right? Man, like almost anything can be sold online nowadays. Almost anything.
What are the steps? All right, you got a new entrepreneur. They're saying, I'm listening to you guys. I want to change my life for the better. I want to cross that threshold, and I want to have financial freedom. I don't live in San Diego, California. What are the steps that you would take?
First, create a system, right? You have to create that system. If the system can be done in person, that system can be applied to your online coaching regimen, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're a coach, you're an entrepreneur, you create that system. You find a platform to run ads on.
Give us a few. Give us a few examples.
What I've used for the most part, Facebook and Instagram ads.
Okay.
That's what I've
you're
seen.
Leveraging social media platforms.
Leveraging social media because people are always watching, especially Huge. Now TikTok. I guess TikTok is growing like that. Businesses are growing on TikTok. Yeah. I have another close friend who went from TikTok, 100-something thousand followers on TikTok, to growing his Instagram from 0 to, I think he's probably like 16,000 now. He turned his TikTok into a money-making machine, and he coaches people from the comfort of his own home, you know, uses an app for all the workouts, all the sets, reps, weights, the nutrition, the measurements, and tracking and measuring nutrition, everything all via one application. And he sells high ticket programs. So you need to be able to place whatever you're doing in that app and then push it towards people via these ads. The ad has to be catchy, of course. So I would recommend partnering up with somebody who specializes in social media marketing. It's going to cost some money, which is where the 100K comes from, right? You have to be making 100K at your day job to be able to have this money, or you're going to have to leverage credit. So do one of those things. Regardless, you have to believe in yourself. So don't give up. You're either going to, it's an investment, right? You have to invest in yourself. So invest in yourself and don't give up.
So that's the framework. What about some of the intangibles? Like, how important is developing a mission statement before you start?
Yeah, you got to know your why. You got to have a why first. So find a problem in society and try to fix it. And then make sure you're passionate about fixing that problem. Because if you're not passionate about fixing that problem, you're not going to do yourself any good, and you're going to be a disservice to your clients rather than a service.
There's this quote I heard recently that I liked. It was, if you can identify a problem, you can be a millionaire. If you can provide the solution, you can be a billionaire.
100%. And I think that's what we're on the way to doing. There's a problem, and it's poor patient outcomes, and we have the solution.
Definitely. That's definitely a part of my why, especially in the clinical space, is improving patient outcomes, because the science already shows us that we could do better. It is the limitation of the systems of which we work in that has reduced the efficacy of our approach, particularly in physical therapy. So we're going from mission statement. You got your framework. What about standards and guidelines, particularly if you're not working within a well-regulated field of your industry? Do you create your own standards and guidelines? Is it important to have those things well-defined? I think so.
You should have your own standards and guidelines, but you should also do your due diligence and do the research, right? Find out, okay, like if you're a physical therapist, what is my scope of practice? If you're a chiropractor, what is my scope of practice? If I'm a fitness trainer or a performance or corrective exercise specialist, what is my scope of practice? What am I allowed to do by law in my specific state? And what do I know? If I don't know something, I need to go do my research or refer out. So you also should establish a network so that you can get those people the results.
I agree. I agree that understanding those things are necessary to reduce your exposure to liability. But before we get too deep on the technical side, attribute that to the formula for bringing it to six figures. All right, so you got your mission statement, you got your standards, you got your guideline, you got your framework. How do you execute? How do you go from 100K track backwards? You got $278 a day. Easy peasy, right? Marketing budget. How do you select it?
Well, first you got to have some money that you're willing to put in. If you're not willing to put in, I mean, normally you're gonna get what a lead usually is gonna cost between 40 and $50 per lead. So right, if you're trying to make $278, let's round it up to 300. That's gonna be three sales at $100 a day, right? So for each 300, you gotta divide it by $40, right? So you're gonna have to get 7 or 8 leads to get that 300, right? So it's gonna cost 200. It's gonna cost you equally in marketing to get that $300. So you gotta be willing to spend what you're willing to make, and eventually you'll get so good at closing the deals that you'll skyrocket your income. But at first, you're pretty much breaking even.
Yeah.
For the most part, in entrepreneurship, you're gonna break even at first.
Can't be scared of that.
Can't be scared. That's what, kind of what we're doing right now. We're putting a bunch of money in, but the return hasn't yet come back, but it's going to. You just gotta risk it to get the biscuit, man. You really gotta risk it to get the biscuit. If you're not willing to put money in, you're not gonna be successful. It's just like putting money into the stock market. If you put $100 in, you might get $100 back. You put 10 G's in, you might turn that 10 G's to 20 G's, or that 10 G's you might get real lucky. You've invested in the right portfolio. That 10 G's might turn to 100 G's. And I've had really bad luck in the stock market, so I think this is less risky. Being an entrepreneur, investing in yourself is probably one of the only things that's going to give you a return on investment if you don't give up.
If you don't give up. I like the way you put that. All right, man.
All right, guys. When you're on your path to hitting 100K, remember that it's not always about the money. Although it's sometimes about the money, it's not always about it. It's about growth, resilience, and committing to your true potential. So thanks for tuning in to the Connective Tissue Podcast. We'll see you next time.